How you guys doing? Welcome to Cruel City Podcast, and with us today we have none other than Mayo. Who's Mayo?
Well, Mayo's just he's kind of a street lurker. I would say leads a bit of a double life. Got kind of normal office job, and then his free time just does stuff that he doesn't tell his coworkers about for the most part. Whether he's doing graph or he's skating or crawling through alleys and whatnot, just likes to kind of keep life interesting, I guess.
What event put you in that, like painting?
I think it kind of all goes back to skateboarding. Started skateboarding, probably 6th, 7th grade. And obviously, if you're out skateboarding in the streets and stuff, that's the same place the graffiti goes on. So I think that skateboarding ended up kind of leading to doing some real shitty tags, and the tags got very slightly less shitty over time. So
as you were skateboarding, you just saw this whole new scene of graffiti as well?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in kind of a smaller Midwestern town, not hours from any bigger city, so didn't have a ton of local influence. Did a lot. My dad was, from Chicago area. My mom was from Los Angeles area, so I'd go out to those two kind of metropolitan cities and see graffiti, and then I would go back to my hometown and there wouldn't be a damn thing on the street. So when I started writing, it was probably around, I think the first thing I ever painted on a wall was 2006. So I kind of ended up getting a lot of influence from the internet, because there was this, it was before, it was pre-Instagram, even pre-Flickr. I think there was this website, Art Crimes, I remember I used to go on. And because I, wasn't able to see graffiti out my front door and, in my city, I would go on the internet. I was, 8th grade internet toy, basically asking for critiques on sketches and stuff, and just trying to kind of get the influence or, get critiques anywhere that I could, because I definitely didn't know any other writers for probably 3 or 4 years since I, first started writing.
How do you develop that style that you have now? Or how was the process on finding your style?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still not convinced that I have a style, to be honest. Every time I paint, at least every time I paint fills, it tends to be different, and I feel like I'm still kind of working on figuring out what my personal style actually is. I mean, I think that really when I first started kind of developing any sort of a style, it was when I moved to San Francisco. I wasn't really planning on writing graffiti because I knew that the Bay Area had such a legendary scene, and there were so many people painting out there. I was like, there's no possible way I'm ever going to be able to make a dent in a legendary scene like this. So, but as soon as I got out there, of course, I was like, all right, I got to start hitting some little cutty tags, and to kind of started. I think I really started getting stylistic influences from Bay Area people once I moved out there, and especially with the tagging and stuff like that. San Francisco is kind of known for, it's a pretty small city, so everyone's walking around a lot and hitting all the little cutty runner tags. In the Bay Area, in San Francisco specifically, the little cutty tags were kind of what people respected. That was the thing to do, was hit little cutty shots, and more runners you could get, kind of the sicker you were, I guess. But which is a little bit different from Chicago. Out here it seems much more kind of fill oriented, I guess.
How long did it took you to find people with the same interest in graffiti?
I would jump on like a couple of these message boards here and there because it was literally the only way that I could kind of connect with any sort of a graffiti scene. Granted, I think all the other people on those forums were just other super toys like me, so I don't think I was necessarily getting like mentored by anyone or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it took. I don't think I really hung out with other writers until I moved out to the Bay Area. That was kind of when I started actually meeting other people. And a lot of the local writers in San Francisco specifically were not trying to fuck with me at all, really. Like, I mean, I think that I got really hyped on graph as soon as I moved out there. I had a lot of tags, but they were all horrible. It's a term that I've heard people say and I've thrown around. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, but if someone's a king toy, it's like their shit looks horrible, but they have a lot of spots. I think everyone kind of knows someone that could, I'm sure a name comes to mind when everyone thinks of that term.
We have a few here though.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, a lot of the time those people end up, they either stick with it and get good and can take that work ethic and, kind of refine their actual graph so they can take that energy and eventually become pretty good, solid bombers. Or they just kind of too lazy to put in the work to actually like make their graph look decent. So they kind of, fizzle out eventually.
How long do you think it takes for somebody to be good to get to that point? An estimate of.
I don't know. I mean, there's some people that I know that I think it's usually people that were kind of around graffiti before they started writing, so they kind of had an idea of how it works and kind of like the do's and don'ts and shit. But I think that, for me, like I said, I still think I'm not great. I'm still working on it. It's always a work in progress. But I think probably if you're really dedicated, you could probably get decent within 3 years, I would say, minimum. Seems like I see some people that have been writing like 3 or 4 years and they're really solid. I think it also depends on kind of if someone's artistic to begin with, if they grew up drawing and painting and stuff like that. I think not that that's the same thing as graph, but I think that it can help your shit look like aesthetically decent.
What is your favorite surface to paint?
As far as like painting, filling in and stuff like that, obviously brick is great. Love finding some like good virgin brick spots. I didn't really get too much into freights until maybe the last like 4 years or so, something like that. Definitely still pretty new to the freight scene, but love a good rusty freight. Really rust in general, actually. I guess rust would be the answer to that question. With tags too, a good silver, juicy silver marker tag on some rust is great. Yeah. I like surfaces. I like surfaces that are a little bit weathered and older because that means that the city hasn't paid attention to that surface and buffed it before, so it's a good chance that it'll run a little bit longer.
It's a good way to see it though, Lucky.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what helps. I don't want to like to my own horn, but I've gotten somewhat decent at figuring out where I can put tags that the writers will notice it, but the city won't, I guess.
Now, this is my favorite part of the podcast. The questions we get from Instagram.
Let's hear them.
First question is,
bro, how fucking tall are you? 8, 9?
I am 6'4", so I'm up there. I'm pretty tall. I'm not quite 8 foot, a couple inches shorter, but yeah. And I also, this is kind of a little funny side thing. I don't want to put people on game too much with this because it's something I don't see people doing, but I've attached markers to longer things to hit kind of comically tall tags. So you might see a couple tags where you're like, if this dude was standing on the ground when he did this, he is 11 feet tall.
Have you ever been caught? If so, what went down after?
I have out in the Bay Area. That was obviously when I was kind of first starting out, like painting illegal graph, and I got wrapped a bunch. And I mean, I was young enough to where I think the cops they would normally just kind of try to stop me, scare me a little bit. They'd usually let me go. I would say, I mean, knock on wood, but the first couple times, I mean, I would say most of the times that I've gotten wrapped, usually end up getting let go, or at the very worst, maybe take it into the station real quick and, you know, kind of processed, and then they'll let me go after that. Never been like locked up long term for graph, or, you know, even held over the weekend or anything like that. Again, knock on wood. Yeah.
Who is someone you think deserves credit in the graffiti scene?
I mean, I know I mentioned this before we started recording, but definitely got to give it up to Smear. Rest in peace. It's not like he doesn't get credit already. I think he gets a lot of credit, but I think that dude deserves all the credit that he can get, because talk about Cuddy Tag King, that man. I've heard him make claims that he has walked further distances than Jesus Christ himself. I don't know. That's, you know, you can't necessarily measure that, but yeah. I mean, Smear, Morgan, Malvo. I think everyone's probably seen about 1 million Malvo tags in their life. That man just seems to be perpetually traveling. Yeah, I love like Cuddy taggers like that. Read more. Yeah, just dudes who try to hit those stay up tag spots. It's my favorite shit.
Who's your favorite writer?
Man, I don't know if I necessarily. It would be really hard to pin down a single favorite writer. I think I just mentioned a couple of them for sure. Yeah, Smear comes to mind. Morgan's huge, and also, I mean, Morgan's another one that I think that I'm never trying to, but I think that I've found myself accidentally biting all sorts of shit that dude's done. I've apologized to him for it. He claims it's no big deal, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Malvo's up there. Malvo and Read More, or Books, or, you know, Read Books, that guy. Those two were the only two writers that I ever saw with tags in my hometown when I was still living there. And that was crazy, because I remember I would drive across town to see like this one Malvo tag on a dumpster, and I would stand there and look at it and be like, that's real graffiti, I think. And also, I remember Read More Books had one of those USPS postal slaps, and it was on like a newspaper bin at one of our local bowling alleys. And I think that was the first like piece of actual graffiti that I saw in my hometown. So those two have a special place in my heart for sure.
Is it true you got 6 fingers in one hand?
I don't know who's feeding you this information. Hate to say it, it's not true. I've got a standard 10 fingers.
Where do you find the time to get up so much and everywhere?
I mean, I definitely haven't stopped riding. I don't think I've ever really stopped riding since I started, but I've definitely slowed down a bit to kind of try to get some life shit in order, you know? Like, I was tired of being super, super broke. So I've been trying to kind of line up a job that I can, you know, afford to, you know, eat a burger and some pizza once or twice a week and not be stressed about how it's going to affect me financially. But I mean, I just try to fit it in when I can. Like, if I've got, say that, you know, it's a weeknight and I've got like 2 or 3 hours to spare, instead of just chilling and, you know, watching TV or something, I'll, you know, drive over to a neighborhood that I haven't walked around in for a while, and, you know, I'll just, if you're really out there, like, you know, trying to catch as many tags as you can fit a surprising amount into like an hour and a half, you know? So just try to make good use of my time, I guess.
Favorite weapon of choice for Cuddy?
Ooh, I mean, probably streaks. Streaks just see, I mean, you know, like standard Sharpie Mean streak or Sakuras. I think they just tend to last the longest. So that's usually what I go to. So, I mean, it used to be like a good silver, you know, like pretty much like a silver uni, but I mean, like, I know that some of the craft stores used to have some pretty ill silver markers, and, you know, I've always made a point of trying to rack all my markers. So it used to be a silver, but all the stores stopped carrying all the dope silvers, so it's changed to streaks.
Why he doesn't like mayo?
Well, yeah, I don't really like mayonnaise that much, I will say. It's surprising to some people. But yeah, mayonnaise is just kind of fucking gross. I'm not a huge fan. I don't know. I mean, the choice of the name had nothing to do with how I feel about the condiment mayonnaise, but you know, I mean, maybe throw a little chipotle mayo or a little, you know, garlic aioli or something. I can fuck with that, but not a huge fan of mayonnaise itself.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Is mayonnaise an instrument? I guess it depends on how you play it. I don't know. Could be.
How many tags do you think you have done in your lifetime?
I would love to know this. I've tried to sit down at some point and kind of try to figure it out, but it's hard to say because, you know, some nights I'll be biking around and I'll just hit like 4 tags, and then other nights I'll hit like 100 plus or something. I don't know. I mean, it's got to be in the thousands. It's definitely got. I mean, because I've pretty much been hitting tags every week at the very least for, I don't even know, since 2009. So 14, 15 years, something like that.
Righty or lefty?
Righty.
How you got so many tags everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of touches on what I said earlier. I just try. I mean, I will say that I think that, I mean, you know, there's some people that are kind of fill dudes, you know, that crush with fills. I don't know. I've always kind of, I think I just naturally gravitated towards catching a lot of tags because, I mean, on one hand, I was already out skateboarding and stuff, so I think, you know, when I very first started in high school, I would, you know, hit a couple little tags at each skate spot that we were at or something like that. But as time went on, I think I realized that, say you've got like, say you're planning on going out and painting one night, you can put in, you know, a ton of effort, like finding a good spot to fill in at, you know, like you got to wait until pretty late at night for a lot of spots. It's a lot of waiting around and planning, whereas with tags, you don't really have to have a plan. You can just park up or, you know, take the bus somewhere or something and just walk around. So I think that at a certain point, people I would get feedback from people where they're like, oh yeah, I mean, I never had people say like, oh, yo, I saw so many of your fills, because that's just not really, I don't know, I never really concentrated super hard on doing a ton of fills, but I would always have people say like, pretty much like that, like, yo, I saw, you know, I see a tag every neighborhood I'm in, like, I see your tags constantly, so I kind of decided I would kind of lean into that, and, you know, and then I, you know, also, there's, you know, like the influences from other riders like Smear and Morgan and shit like that really, I was always impressed by being able to see a tag from people like that everywhere you go. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it was just kind of a natural progression, I guess.
One thing that killed your vibe?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of like people that are really into like graffiti politics and stuff like that. I think that's kind of overthinking it a little bit. I don't know. It's a little gossipy to me. That's why I kind of try to just stick, you know, try to hang out with my kind of core group of homies and crew and stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer when I meet people and they're, you know, talking shit on someone or name dropping or, you know, like, yeah, just I guess talking too much, I guess is not great, which is ironic because I talk a lot, but I just talk about dumb shit. I don't talk about that.
Reason to keep going?
I think what keeps me going a lot of the time is when I'll have someone, you know, like shoot me a flick on Instagram or something like that, or, you know, I'll end up meeting someone and they'll say, yo, I saw one of your tags at a gas station in the middle of like rural Kentucky or some shit like that. And that's like the highest praise I can get when someone says that they saw my tag in like a weird area that they didn't expect to see tags in. So yeah, just gonna keep trying to do that. Just keep trying to, I don't know, accumulate tags and do fills when possible, of course.
How will you like people to remember you as?
Shit, just a nice guy. I've met enough people that are, I don't know, kind of up their own ass about their egos, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So yeah, just want people to, yeah, remember me as, you know, say, oh, I met that dude once, he was cool. That's kind of the highest praise, I guess. And I mean, I guess maybe someone that's got a lot of tags. I guess I like that too. I work hard at it, so. Yeah, no, I'll get a couple of those for sure.
What's an event you'll never forget?
I don't know why this is just the first thing that came to mind, but I mean, like I was saying, when I moved to the Bay Area and kind of graph was really new and exciting. Not that it's not still exciting, but it was brand new, and every experience was a new experience. And like I was saying, I would get wrapped a lot in the Bay, and I would end up. What they used to do in the Bay Area was, if you got arrested for graffiti, they would put you in community service with all of the other graffiti writers, and you guys would go out and buff spots. That was what you would do for community service, and people would show. I mean, this isn't a specific instance. This was kind of this whole time period of community service in San Francisco, and late 2000s. But I mean, showing up to community service at 7 a.m. hungover as hell. Everyone else is also hungover or hasn't gone to sleep yet. People, just crazy shit. People, like getting in little fights. I met a lot of pretty legendary heads just by doing community service in San Francisco. I don't know if anyone's familiar, but if anyone was out there, 2005 through maybe 14, this guy Nino ran the community service. And this dude loved graffiti more than anyone that I've met, even though his job was to eliminate graffiti. So yeah, community service in San Francisco. That's a good memory. It was. I think they stopped putting all the graffiti writers together. I don't think they do that anymore because I don't think they wanted people to like it like I did. But.
What's the do's and don'ts that you have in mind? Or like, I know it's a lot of those, but
Yeah, I mean, there's some basic stuff, just like don't paint over other people's shit. Don't write on people's personal property if possible. I mean, it kind of depends on where you are. If you're in like a little bit of like a smaller city or something like that, there's not as much wall space, so sometimes you might have to kind of bend those rules a little bit. But for the most, you're not out there tagging on people's cars, doing people's garage doors or something like that. So I think that's some obvious stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think honestly, not going over people is kind of the biggest thing. And I still try, even if someone's shit isn't the best, I still try not to go over it just because. I don't know. I just like seeing. I'm just hyped that other people are out there having fun, so I'm not really trying to fuck their shit up unless they like did something whack to me or my friends, but that rarely happens.
how do you feel about spot jacking?
I try not to do it. I do my best. Of course, I've definitely done it before. But I think that like a big part of, especially once you start painting more seriously and you're really out there regularly bombing, I think that spot choice is really important. And I think that some people, I'm sure it's like this in every city, but in Chicago, you'll not to talk shit on this, it's just not my thing, but people will paint like only brown buff walls or something like that, and that's cool. And if you're doing enough of them, then people will see your name, and you've accomplished getting up, I guess, at a base level. But I think that like actually finding kind of virgin spots and stuff like that is important. So, and if you're spot jocking, that means someone already found the spot. So it's not, you're not really being creative in that respect.
Any advice for the future generation?
Yeah, just do your own thing. I don't know, just have fun, really. Like, I think that a lot of people will take this shit too seriously, and I think it kind of tends to wear on people. Obviously, you're getting not very much sleep. Every time you're going out painting, you're doing some stressful, illegal shit. So it's easy to kind of lose sight of the fact that you're doing it for fun, I guess. Yeah, just have fun, I guess. That's a big part of it.
Any shout outs you want to give?
Man, just anyone that I've met that's been cool to me. Yeah, when I moved to Chicago, I had a lot of people tell me, "Oh, people are going to be dicks. People will." I don't know. I got people that lived in Chicago gave me a pretty negative idea about what riders in Chicago are like. But I've had the opposite experience. Everyone's been mad cool. So anyone that's been cool to me, I mean, yeah, my crews, RTA, YPC. YPC's kind of my boys. They're kind of spread out throughout the country and also throughout the world. J4F, of course, all the J4F boys and girls, and yeah, Northside White Boys, Chicago's premier tagging crew.
Alright, we at the end, bro. So for the last thing, one quote or phrase you go by.
Shit, just I guess piggybacking off what I just said. I guess I would say just for fun, baby.
Okay, so basically, is that what message would you like to give to the audience, or?
Just, I don't know. I think people should take themselves a little less seriously. Just have fun. We're all here having fun. Show people love. Yeah, just be nice to everyone you encounter. It's never going to work out badly for you.